12, no No. If I go on Facebook. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Oh. All right. All right. Take two. Take two. Oh my God. That was embarrassing. No. God damn it. Oh. All right. Well, let's try that again, shall we? All right. I have to get resituated now. Hold on. All right. Ready? All right. Split record. Because I'm definitely not doing that on another recording. All right. I totally wasn't muted for the very first recording of this session. Hey yo, and welcome back to the Galaxi Scrum. And I hope you guys enjoy. Oh, sorry, the music's being very weird for the live edition of the Galaxi Scrum. Hey yo, and welcome back to the Galaxi Scrum. I am your host, Matt Galaxi, and welcome to round 4 of the Galaxi Scrum. In this episode, we're going to be going through the contract fallout of Daly Cherry-Evans and his abrupt end to the Manly Warriors Sea Eagles. But yeah, completely apologize for the lack of audio during that stream, but we get to go in with a bit more prepared. So that is very, very, very good. Anyway, so let's get into it. Shout outs. We had a $5 super chat from Pancake Gamer last night during our Fixture Showdown stream. Massive thank you for the $5. He wanted me to do some commentation. That was basically, he wanted me to commentate sophisticatedly, which I obviously can't do that, which is kind of sucks, but that is okay. If you guys happen to enjoy this episode of the Galaxi Scrum, I highly encourage you to click the button down below. And also, yes, Dylan Walker is another person we need to talk about, which actually was a late addition to this episode. We also are now on Spotify as well, which I have linked in the chat. I'm going to actually pin the message now if you guys have not seen it yet. We are on Spotify. This episode, episode 4, will come out shortly after the stream has finished. That's the aim anyway. But yeah, be sure to check it out on Spotify. And if you enjoyed this episode, subscribe to the channel. Without further ado, I want to say hello to Rugby, who informed me that I was muted the first time. So appreciate that as always, mate. Appreciate that. And anyway, that's all good. Hello, welcome everyone. Let's get into the game review, starting with Thursday, March 20th. The Melbourne Storm 30 defeat the Penrith Panthers 24. Penrith was not willing to give up even after Nathan Cleary went off the field with the HIA. And quite honestly, it was quite honestly a bit of a surprise because we thought Penrith could have been absolutely decimated after Nathan Cleary went off. But they stuck in and they kept playing. It just shows how good how good of a side Penrith actually is. Obviously, they did get the win, but that is okay. The Melbourne Storm, I have a funny feeling this is going to be the other way around when they meet at CommBank Stadium later this year. On Friday, March 21st, we had the New Zealand Warriors 14 defeated the Sydney Roosters 6 at Go Media Stadium. Warriors we just had some breaking news today that Dylan Walker has been released from his contract. So the Warriors are now without Dylan Walker. But regardless of that, Kloikstad had a really good game that game. But there was a lot of defensive effort from both teams. However, the Warriors were able to get the final dub at the end of the match, which I believe... I didn't actually directly watch that game, but I do know Kloikstad had a good game. But I do pretty much recall I bring up the statistics, the Warriors didn't get ahead until the final. Oh, wow. Warriors actually had 3 tries. Oh, wow. So, wow. Okay. That kind of, I didn't even realize that. Holy shit. Whoops. But yeah, the New Zealand Warriors, absolutely good win for them. Then we head over back into Queensland at Suncorp Stadium, where the Broncos defeat the North Queensland Cowboys 26-16. Bit of a not a perfect game by the Broncos, but they were able to get the dub. Obviously, the 10-year anniversary of the 2015 Grand Final, one of the best Grand Finals I've ever seen. So it is definitely this game definitely lived up to a bit of the hype, and quite honestly, the Broncos are I feel like there's a bit of concern with Reece Walsh there, but we won't get into that because we got into it last podcast. Then on Saturday, March 22nd, the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks 27 defeat the South Sydney Rabbitohs 12 at Shark Stadium. There were no mascots harmed in the making of that game. I don't know what happened there. He has issued an apology since then, but I thought it'd be a funny mention. Then we head on over to KO Stadium, where the West Tigers 30 defeat the Dolphins 18. This is actually why the Dolphins were actually the worst team of the week, because the Dolphins had a lead at halftime, and if they kept scoring tries, they could have comfortably won, but they just couldn't capitalize, and the Tigers went riot at the end of the half, at the end of that game. So quite honestly, they deserve the win. A lot of positive sign for the Tigers, if I'm being completely honest. Then we're still in Queensland, we head back to the Gold Coast, and it's at Cbus Super Stadium for the first home game for the Gold Coast Titans, 26, beating the Newcastle Knights to 6. That was expected, honestly. I knew as soon as the Titans, how the Titans actually played against the Bulldogs. The Bulldogs are a good side. Quite honestly, I think they had a bit of an unfair start, the Titans. So quite honestly, the Titans were able to just jump in, just jump straight into their home game against the Newcastle Knights, which Newcastle have been showing some pretty good promise at the moment. So definitely a good win for the Titans there. Then we head on over to CommBank Stadium, where the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs 16 defeat the Parramatta Eels 8. But they did lose some players, unfortunately, which is quite unfortunate for them, but that is okay. Then we also have the Manly Warringah Sea Eagles 40 defeat the Canberra Raiders 12 at Four Pines Park. And that was definitely a game for Bo, who I think his name was Bo, if I recall correctly, who did unfortunately pass away from cancer. So a very good win for the Sea Eagles. But that's not the biggest outline that the Sea Eagles have had this week. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into that topic later with Daly Cherry-Evans. There was no suspensions this week. I was actually fingers crossed that Walsh didn't get suspended. Nathan Cleary, Penrith Panthers, has suffered a Category 1 HIA after a collision with Jerome Hughes during the match against the Melbourne Storm. He'll now miss the next 11 days. Jerome Hughes is also going to remain, he's also going to be off. He sustained a broken hand during the same match. He underwent surgery and is expected to miss 2 matches. Nick Meaney suffered a facial fracture during the game against Pat. Wow, a lot of Melbourne players out. Nick Meaney is going to be sidelined for 4 to 6 weeks. Paseka ruptured his Achilles in the match against Canberra, expected to miss the remainder of the season. I also think Nelson has been injured as well. I don't have the details for that one as well. And Braden Hame-Ole from the Sharks suffered. Paseka from the Manly Warringah Sea Eagles ruptures his Achilles in the match against the Canberra Raiders and expected to miss the remainder of the season. RTS is also out until round 11, which is absolutely a huge blow for the Warriors as well. And then obviously Ole from the Sharks suffered a knee injury during the game against South Sydney Rabbitohs, suspected medial ligament damage. Not only that, but there has actually been some more injuries during the week. So I'm going to quickly pull up NRL Physio, because there are more injuries to go through. Let's see. Ryan Pappenhausen, he suffered an ankle sprain in round 3. He's planning to play this week, but Tyrant Wishart will be kicking the goal. Campbell Graham has a calf strain and he'll be out for a month. Oh, wow. Keanu Kinney won't play after suffering a neck injury. Apparently, this could be a big injury, big out for the Titans. Hamstring strain from Roger Tuivasa-Sheck and Paseka. We got that one. Bailey Simonson, he's returning from ACL injury. And then there's the Bulldogs as well. We have the Jacob Kuraz. Matt Burton, and Vilmar Kickout are expected to return round 7. Kuraz has been working his way from a chronic hip issue, which will require ongoing management. Hamstring, Jarrell Skelton is all good. He has a hamstring injury, but he is all good. And I believe Dylan Lucas has a hamstring injury. Wow, I should just pull this up next time. Jarrell Skelton, no, that's all good. All righty. Will Power get top 17 this year? Probably not. So no DWZ or RTS till round 11. That is a huge blow for the Warriors, if I'm being completely honest. A huge blow for the Warriors, if I'm being completely honest. Very not good. Rugby, not as much as the Eels. I don't think we'll get top 17 this year. They don't even qualify. All right. Awards for this week. So we have our round review this week. We post that every Monday morning. Our round review, the best team this week was definitely the Manly Ringer Seagulls. The domination they had on the Raiders made Ricky go home with a headache. But Ruben Garrick was outstanding, though I would double think, but I would definitely think with today's I would kind of double think the Manly Ringer Seagulls to be the best team. Performance-wise, they were, but it seems like in the club there seems to be some drama going on. Worst team, Dolphins. Dolphins were in the lead against the three-peat Wooden Spooners and lost the lead. And quite especially, that's actually huge that the Tigers actually did that to the Dolphins at their spiritual home ground. I believe the Dolphins have only lost twice at that ground. And now, with this loss, that's their third loss. So their season at their home, their win-loss record at KO Stadium does not look good, if I'm being completely honest. Which, as a Dolphins fan, this quite hurts me a fair bit, if I'm being completely honest. I just want to sit there and kind of cry myself to sleep after that happening. And then surprise team was the Titans. Now, I knew they would win this week. I didn't think they would win that well, though. So that is pretty interesting. They did have a tough first opponent in the Bulldogs, and their second opponent was the Knights. So this is actually a pretty impressive win, if I'm being completely honest. And our MVP this week, hands down, is Ruben Garrick. Like, Ruben Garrick, 4 tries, 3 line breaks, solid MVP status for this week. However, I do have a notable mention. I do have an honorable mention. So before Ruben Garrick's game happened with the Manly Ringer Seagulls, the MVP was actually about to be Apisai Coruscant from the West Tigers. So if it wasn't Ruben Garrick, it definitely would have been Coruscant, because he just took the game by the neck and it was just like, all right, we're going to win this. At least you got the Broncos, yes. So our final score was actually 7 out of 8. Now, I didn't actually officially announce that I was changing my tip, but on the stream I did. So I actually decided that I decided to just stay with that. I decided to just stick with the Raiders, because I did say that I would change it if Tom Trbojevic didn't play. Turns out he didn't play, so it changed the tip, and they actually dominated. So quite honestly, I was quite pretty upset with that. So 1 off a perfect game, but that was a pretty good for round 3. So I will be completely honest. So how did everyone in chat do with their tips this week? Hi, Matt. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. I am doing well, thank you. I hope you're having an amazing time. Let's see. Best player last week was Dylan Brown's agent. Okay, kind of agree with that. I think the best player this week was Jerome Hughes, because he hurt Click. Wow, that's dark. That's really dark, man. Really, really, really dark. Oh, so your time machine didn't work? No. Now, if I actually stuck with the Seagulls, I would have gotten 8 out of 8, which honestly I would have been like, yay! But nah, that was on me. That was definitely on me a bit. But yeah, I got 5 out of 8 this week. Not bad. Yeah, I think, honestly, most of the games were pretty easy to pick. But that doesn't mean next week's games are going to be easy. We got some interesting ones coming up, if I'm being completely honest. Some of them are blowouts, too. Holy shit. Well, so we'll get into that shortly. All right, so we're going to get into the biggest topic of this week. Oh, man. I was not expecting this to happen, if I'm being completely honest. So, if you guys have been living under a rock, this is basically what happened. On, I think, Monday afternoon. I think on Monday afternoon, if I recall correct, I think it was Monday afternoon, if I recall. Might have been Tuesday morning. No, it was Monday afternoon because 100% footy. Daly Cherry-Evans announced that 2025 would be his final season playing for the Manly Warringah Sea Eagles. That's right. Daly Cherry-Evans, after 2025, will not be at the Manly Sea Eagles. He has played 333 games for Manly. He's won a premiership and achieved numerous of accolades over more than a decade. He's absolutely been their best player. Probably Tom Trbojevic probably argues that a little bit, but definitely he's definitely one of their best players, and he's been the most consistent too. And obviously he's also really good in Origin as well. So quite honestly, it's really he's definitely really definitely one of Manly's best, if I'm being completely honest. Now, why is he leaving? Lack of a formal contract extension offer from Manly's management, particularly CEO Tony Mestrov, which was funny because Daly Cherry-Evans was actually going to come on 100% Footy's podcast on Monday. So he was already booked in and stuff. And NRL 360 actually broke the news that he wouldn't be playing at Manly anymore. So while he was on getting ready for 100% Footy, NRL 360 was getting calls from Manly CEO and said, we are going to put an official 2-year contract. But then Cherry-Evans on 100% Footy, there's a fly in here. Go away. Oh, shit. Whoops. No, there's a fly. It's distracting. Oh, no. Okay. He's over there now. But yeah, Daly Cherry-Evans, he was on 100% Footy. They said there is a contract offer, and then Daly Cherry-Evans said respectfully, no. So, but who is in the wrong? Now, apparently Manly says that they have been blindsided by DCE doing this. I am going to be completely honest with you. I actually disagree with this. I think they knew what they were doing, if I'm being completely honest. They knew that Daly Cherry-Evans was getting on getting on 100% Footy, so they definitely went public with this. Now, I honestly think Cherry-Evans, now he's a bit of a stand-up guy. I don't know him personally, but I feel like out of all the players, being a veteran, you would be like, I don't want this bullshit around. So he would want Cherry-Evans. Cherry-Evans would definitely want to get this sorted as soon as he can. Now, he wanted a 2-year deal. He didn't get it until he went public that he was leaving Manly. But it sounds like he's just had enough and he just wants to go. And apparently he's doing this because it wants to give him freedom for the year. He just doesn't want to think about it. Now, he'll focus on Manly this year, and at the end of the year, he'll make a decision whether he wants to retire or if he wants to play on, which I have done a poll on the podcast right now, and a good chunk of people with 6 votes say that they want him at the Dolphins. And there's also some follow-up questions with the Roosters. 16% want him at the Roosters, and 16% see him retires. So yeah, quite honestly, a bit of an interesting play of events. If we're being honest, we were really looking at the media on Monday afternoon. We were just like, what the hell is going on? Because I know Hello Sport, they were jumping right on that and jumping on right on the news. And now we have even more news, which has just broken. Oh, wow. Okay. That's but 100%, but Hello Sport were actually reporting on it. Obviously they're depressed because they're big Manly fans. But quite honestly, this is a shock. This is a complete shock that he is leaving Manly. Breaking news, by the way, on the Galaxy Scrum, first time ever, Manly have identified that they want Jamal Fogarty as the replacement for Daly Cherry-Evans, and they want him to pair with Luke Brooks in the halves. So quite an interesting development. So criticisms and reactions. Journalists Paul Crawley and Dean Ritchie, Bulldog Ritchie, wow, okay, criticised Manly for mishandling the situation and being unprepared for his departure, while Crawley said they've stuffed this up. He's in their backyard. He's one of their top 3 playmakers in the game. Cherry-Evans then responds with, he's emphasised his appreciation for Manly and its supporters, acknowledging potential disappointment but maintaining mutual respect. And he's also denied there's any animosity between him and the club despite public negotiations. Now, he's also, what's interesting is that there's a lot of stories coming out that apparently they've been talking, Daly Cherry-Evans has been talking to Manly. They've been trying to get an extension for a very long time. But quite honestly, he was able to, Manly had been pointing him in the right direction, and apparently they'd been screwing with him a little bit. But at the same time, it sounds like he wasn't getting what he wants. So he was like, okay, I'm done. I'm cutting this off now before it gets any worse. Completely fair, if I'm being completely honest. Now, future plans. He's not specified if he will retire or sign with any other club. We still need confirmation on that. And within the next month, he's actually going to make a decision if he's going to make himself available for Origin, which quite honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he says, no, I'm not available, which means the captaincy for the Queensland side will open. A lot of people are talking about Para in the chat right now. No way you had Chooks over the Penrith, over Penrith. I don't like Penrith. Bro, you should try to get Brett. Bro should have tried to get Brown. Same, I'm a Para fan, so I hate them, but I had Penrith over the Chooks that week, though. Oh, wow. And the Fly has decided to enter my light. Okay, you need to go away. So, yeah, that's quite an interesting topic. Now, there's a few teams that he can go to. Dolphins are definitely the only team that has outrightly shown interest is the Dolphins, which honestly having him at the Dolphins would be interesting. However, I feel like it would depend on who is like who is it that's going to be replacing either Nikorima when he goes out. I'm assuming Nikorima's on his final year of his contract. So quite honestly, it'd be interesting to see if Nikorima continues play with the Dolphins beyond 2025. I'm actually going to double check that because I'm quite interested. So just give me a sec, guys, because I am quite interested in this development. But if I'm being completely honest with you right now, I think if Cody Nikorima moves, I definitely think the Dolphins are a very good chance of signing him off contract. None of these. Okay. No, Cody Nikorima is actually on. So I'm going to find out when his thing expires. Hold on. Cody Nikorima, he is on till 26. Okay. So yeah, it depends on how if Nikorima plays well or not. The Dolphins have confirmed they have shown interest. Now, the Dragons also showed interest as well, but as of today, they have pulled out of the deal. So Dragons are no longer interested. And another team that potentially is on the cards is the Roosters. But I don't think the Roosters have publicly confirmed that they are interested in Daly Cherry-Evans, which, if I'm being completely honest, if Daly Cherry-Evans goes to the Roosters, that is Cooper Cronk levels of betrayal to State of Origin. I wouldn't be surprised if he plays this year, has his final year of Origin, and then goes to the Roosters and Slater's like, nah, I'm not picking you. You decided to pull a Cooper Cronk. But again, with Origin, he will be deciding that within the next month, which I actually wouldn't be surprised if he says no. And with his significance, the reason this is so significant is because he will, if he departs the Manly Ring of Seagulls, this is the end of a significant era in the Manly Ring of Seagulls. DCE and Tom Trbojevic are like the best players within the game. Are like two of the best players of the game. So losing like one of those two players is definitely going to be a detriment to Manly Ringer Seagulls. Like, who replaces DCE? Now, they've identified Jamal Fogarty, which I think if that could work, but also don't forget you also have Luke Brooks also that can play 7. Arguably, he can play 7. But yeah, it's definitely going to mark an end of an era. And I definitely think if next year, if DCE leaves this year and next year Manly don't do so good, Seabold's going to be under the most pressure. Completely honest. Apparently as well, apparently DCE got married in the off-season and apparently Seabold was not invited to the wedding, but the players were. So that's kind of interesting. So take that with a grain of salt as you will. DCE for the Dolphins. Name the fly Dalen Brown, DCE or Gerald. Okay, interesting. Anyone has comments on Warriors should not try to get him. We already have Metcalf. I mean, Metcalf is also a thing, which losing, by the way, losing Dylan Walker is a huge out for the Warriors. Because quite honestly, having that impact half on the bench is just ideally not the same way of doing things, like, if I'm being completely honest. Yeah. But yeah, I think definitely this is a bit of a significant development. And it's going to be quite interesting to see how Manly cope with this loss. This big loss, if I'm being completely honest with you. Speaking of which, let's move on. Now, I haven't got too much information about this because it's only just breaking news today. Dylan Walker has left the New Zealand Warriors and is now playing for the Parramatta Eels. Way to downgrade, my friend. Now, I think this isn't a bad thing for the Warriors. I actually think this is a good thing for the Warriors because now Marie Martin can actually come into the actual side and he can take over from Dylan Walker, which is fine. I definitely think T. Marie Martin has that capacity. But at the same time, I know that's a bit questionable because definitely Dylan Walker has been the impact half for the Warriors for quite some time now. But as a Parramatta, he's coming. Now, the question is, can Dylan Walker bring to the Parramatta Eels what they need to finally get on the board in 2025? And my answer to that, and unfortunately, it's no. I don't think so. And that is because Parramatta seem to be lacking a bit of leadership right now. And that is why I think they are losing. Now, to be fair, they did show some signs of improvement. But don't forget, the Dogs lost Matt Burton. No, hang on. They didn't even have Matt Burton. So there you go. I'm thinking of the game before. But they didn't have Matt Burton. They didn't have kick out. So this is quite interesting to see why the hell did Parramatta still lose this game? I felt like they had a good game ready to go. And quite honestly, they did give the Dogs a fight, but the Dogs were able to solidify their defenses and were able to get the dub. But yeah, a bit of an interesting news day, if I'm being completely honest. I'm just trying to pull out the, but yeah, Dylan Walker, just absolutely insane. That's an absolutely insane signing. I don't think it's an as impressive signing as people led on to be, but I definitely think it's going to help Parramatta a little bit. I think it'll help them a little bit, but I don't think they'll win. I don't think it'll be enough for them to win. You should make an Eels diss track at 2K subs, LMAO. I need that even as a diehard Para fan. Oh, man. This is, if it turns out Parramatta win this weekend, who do they have this weekend? I think they have Manly, don't they? I know they've got a tough game. Yeah, Manly. They've got Manly. I definitely don't think they can win that. But at the same time, Like a power is $6 at the moment. That's absolutely insane. And quite honestly, there's a lot of calls just to release Dylan Brown. Now, I think if Dylan Brown doesn't play that well, today, like this week, kicking meters, damn. That's quite, 21 tackles, passing, receipts, offloads. You got 2 try assists in the attack, but it would have been in the second half. Damn, that's not very good stats for 2025 for Dylan Brown. Now, there's a lot of calls for Dylan Brown to actually leave Parramatta now because he's not doing much good. That's about $94 less than I expected. Holy shit. Oh, man. When do Para face the Roosters? They only faced Roosters once, round 25, and it's a combank game. That's quite interesting. I thought they would meet the Roosters before that. Not. Damn, no. Didn't expect that. Dang. I didn't even know that. That's bad, man. What team do you think Cherry-Evans will go? I think he'll go to the Dolphins. But I also think it's a very strong chance he'll retire. So yeah, quite interesting if I'm being completely honest. But yeah, quite interesting. It's going to be quite interesting. Yeah, a lot of people are saying that the Manly Ring of Seagulls have been very dependent, but you know, it's interesting. You might not get a win until round 22. Whoa! No, I think Parramatta will get a win. I think they will get a win very soon. To be fair, I don't think it'll be until round 7. But you know, it'll be when Moses gets back. As soon as Moses gets back, I definitely think they'll win some games. I think when's Moses actually due back? Hold on, let's find out when Moses is due back. Mitchell Moses, round 7, he's due back against the Tigers. So the Tigers will be playing a game with the Eels on, I think that's Easter Monday, if I'm being completely honest. Can't believe Newcastle play $14 million for a bloke who just exists on the footy field. Wow. A lot of people talking about Dylan Brown. We're still talking about that all these weeks later. Quite insane. But that's it for the Daly Cherry-Evans stuff. Does anyone have any further comments on that? Because we're gonna move on to something a bit personal that I've been doing, and I kind of want to talk about it in a little bit more detail. Because one thing is, it kind of means a lot to me, but at the same time, it is rugby league related. But you know, I thought I would talk about it. And it's been helping me a lot lately. And quite honestly, I just want to share it because I'm just quite happy to, you know, we can quickly, we should beat the bye, hopefully. When is your first bye, by the way? Hold on. When is your first bye? Round 8. If you don't win any of the next games, if you don't win a game till round 8, I'm going to be very concerned. Can you tell DCE to never join the WARs? Yeah, I don't think he joined the WARs, if I'm being completely honest. I'm just looking at some of the follower takes for Clarkie's Rugby League column. By the way, such a good page if you haven't already. Really cool. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about with the podcast is a book I've been reading. I've actually been reading Ivan Cleary's book. This one. Hold on, let me see if I can grab it. It's actually a really good book. there was a so a few weeks ago, there was actually a recent comment. There was a comment a few weeks ago on a stream where obviously, like, it's no mystery that I don't like Ivan Cleary. He's hurt me as a former Tigers supporter, and he's hurt me as a Brisbane supporter. So let's have a look at this. I've read his book. Now, I've actually been interested in reading this book because quite honestly, a lot of people have been saying that it's actually about mental health and stuff. And they were not wrong. This has actually been a very good book to read. Now, if you struggle with mental health and stuff like that, I highly recommend giving this book a read. It is very good, but it also gives insight to how he functions as the coach of the Penrith Panthers and where he came from. And quite honestly, it's an interesting story. I've been listening to it on Spotify Premium. I definitely recommend it. I would definitely recommend listening to it because it's such a really good listen. And quite honestly, I'm quite interested to I'm quite interested. It's always quite interesting to see where a coach comes from, but you kind of understand how Ivan Cleary has managed himself throughout, going through the four-peat of Penrith, his time at the West Tigers, which apparently there's a lot to do with the West Tigers, in a good chunk. And there's like a bit of insight to why the Tigers are the way they are. There's also a lot of stuff with his time in the Warriors. There's also some stuff with when he was a player. I definitely would recommend it. How is Ivan Cleary's book not titled "What the F to Do with 4 Premierships"? Oh no, yeah. But no, it's a book called Not Everything Counts, But Everything Matters. Definitely recommend picking it up if you haven't already. You can read it. You can go and pick it up from the bookstore. It is a good read. If you're wanting to learn about communication and get some new values out of it, it's actually really cool. Ivan Cleary responds after Daly Cherry-Evans floated to partners Nathan in... Wait, what? Wait. Wait, what? What? Whoa, hang on, what? Ivan Cleary responds after Daly Cherry-Evans floated to partner Nathan Cleary in Panthers halves. What? Nah, he's rejected it. Okay, what? Who suggested that? Oh my god. Man, anything for clicks. Losing a bit of respect for the media, if I'm being completely honest with you right now. But goddamn. But yeah, it's definitely been a very good book. Ivan Cleary, I think Ivan Cleary. Also, it's very interesting you mentioned that because Ivan Cleary talks about his management of the media, and there's been times where he's just been he just knows he's done the wrong thing with stuff to do with the with the Penrith Panthers, and there's been times when stuff with the media has actually impacted his performance on field, and it's quite interesting. Bro, he's already married. Nathan is already taken. Oh my goodness. Nathan Cleary and Daly Cherry-Evans. I mean, that's a World Cup pairing. If I'm being completely honest. There you go. That's an Australian halves pairing. Daly Cherry-Evans and Nathan Cleary. Just, wow. What the hell? Oh, man. So, does anyone want to talk about anything else on the pod? Because honestly, by the way, so I'm in the process of trying to get a guest for the podcast. And we want to, I want to have a podcast dedicated to the brand new video game that comes out. I definitely think that is definitely a good talking point to have with someone on the podcast. Now, I really want to do it with Odd One X, but there's also a chance I could probably do it with Mr. Luke Sports as well. So, some possibilities there. Speaking of which, I don't think there's been any news in relation to the new game, if I'm being completely honest. Oh, Tom Chester has re-signed with the North Queensland Cowboys. That's interesting. Get Spazzer on. Spaz is definitely someone I want to get on at some point. I'm just looking at these because I want to see if there's anything. I don't know. I'm checking the league scene right now. If there's anything. The Ashes has been announced. It'll be good to get England versus the Kangaroos. That'll all be online. They'll be at night though. That sucks, man. Ugh. Round 4 milestones. Mike Wavalava will make his 100th NRL appearance in Thursday night's clash. So that's interesting. And Joe Offengow will play his 200th NRL game against the Sea Eagles. That's really cool. Just seeing if there's anything else. I just want to like get some rapid thoughts. Blake Moser is apparently going to return in apparently Blake Moser is returning in the Queensland Cup, so that's really cool. Yo, Pacific Championship for Tonga, New Zealand, and Samoa. Oh, has that been announced? Nope, I haven't seen anything, but it's good to see the Ashes have finally been revealed, so that's really good. The third thing I'm going to do when I get the new game is put DCE on every team but the Dolphins, Roosters, and Manly. Man, that would be like state of origin. Yeah, that would be cool. I don't think there's any announcement. Pacific Championship? Nah, there's not been any announcement. Pacific Championship won't get announced until probably later this year, so that's fine. No, you said the Ashes. Yeah. No, it was the Ashes. Ashes. So it's Australia versus England, and it'll be in England later this year. So that'll definitely be, it'll be good. I think that's a good precursor to the World Cup next year. So it'll be really good. So that's quite exciting. And the World Cup will be in Australia next year. So that's really cool. So yeah, that means Pacific Chance would be that. Yes. Yes, 100%. So yeah, Pacific Chance for Tonga, New Zealand, and Samoa. And then I think there's also the Pacific Cup as well. Yeah. Which is Fiji, PNG, and Cook Island. Okay. It'll be Samoa, yeah. It'll be Samoa. So, yeah. I wonder who'll win next year. It'll probably be... I dropped my AirPods. It'll probably be New Zealand, if I'm being honest. It could be Samoa. Actually, Samoa could actually win. This could be Samoa's year. I mean, Samoa did really well in the last World Cup, so it's actually really good to see, if I'm being completely honest with you. But that's going to do it for the discussion. So there's not really anything else. So that's quite interesting. So let's get in to the tips and predictions of round 4. So coming up, first round. For the first game of the Rabbitohs, For the first game of the round, we have the Penrith Panthers versus the Rabbitohs. I'm going to just preface this that Nathan Cleary is out. However, I do think the Penrith want to win right now. They want this. They want a win. They want to win. That's a W. I don't know why I did that. That's weird. But so I'm going to go Penrith for this one. This is a very easy one, if I'm being completely honest. The Rabbitohs have last week got what they deserved. But they've had some really close victories in the first 2 rounds. But to get almost demolished by the Sharks, they showed an improvement in the second half. But Penrith need a win here. So I'm going to go Penrith with a 13+ margin. I think they're going to win in a bounce-back game despite Nathan Cleary's absence. And the Rabbitohs still haven't been very strong lately. They've lost Campbell Graham again, so that's quite a big deal. And quite honestly, losing Campbell Graham is going to be an absolute bad influence. A bad influence. Then we head on over to Allianz Stadium on Friday. We have the Roosters taking on the Titans. Now, this is going to be an interesting game. I definitely think this is going to be a lot closer than people realize. I definitely think the Roosters are welcoming back some pretty good players. If I recall correctly, actually, I'm going to bring up all the games here right now. The Roosters are welcoming back, I think, Lindsay Collins and Nat Butcher. Okay, that's actually a pretty good... okay, so... that's actually... They're back to full strength. They're back to full strength, the Roosters. So that's quite interesting. And Keanu Kinney is out for the Titans at the moment. Ken Mamalo also comes in, I think, into the reserves. Yes, he does. And quite honestly, I think this is an easy one. Mate, if Kinney was playing, I feel like this would be a hard one. But I'm going to go Roosters 1-12. And I definitely think the Roosters are going to win. And it's just mainly a home field advantage thing. But I definitely think these two are almost in the same tier right now. Now, if the Titans win this game, I feel like that'll be a statement victory. Because that means we're here. We're ready to get some finals booty. So let's do it. Then we head to Suncorp Stadium for the Battle of Brisbane. And it's the Dolphins versus the Broncos. The Dolphins remain unchanged, basically. But in the Broncos, they have a big in with Katoni Staggs. It's our effing house man himself. Now, the Dolphins are currently 0-3, and the Broncos are 2-1. So the Broncos are looking to extend their win streak by one more, and the Dolphins are looking for their first win of the game, first win of the season. I will say this. If the Dolphins don't win this game, there's going to be alarm bells ringing in Redcliffe right now. And I just know that's going to happen. So what is my tip for this game? For the Roosters, for the Dolphins and the Broncos? I have decided to tip the Dolphins to win this one. 1-12. They are needing a victory right now, and this is the game to do it. If they win this game, they can prove to everyone they are not in the bottom three this year. And I definitely think if they win this, they'll kick their season back up and running. So I'm going to go Dolphins 1-12. However, if Brisbane win, it will be a demolition. So it's either going to be Dolphins 1-12 or Broncos 13+. Now, that also depends on if Reece Walsh bounces back from his slump in form. I definitely think he can do it. There is a bit of concern that he's not, because apparently it sounds like he's going through a lot. So I just want to make sure, I just want to preface that. But I'm going to say Dolphins 1-12 on this one. Then we head to, I think it's, I've missed a game. I've missed a game in my notes. We've got the Dragons v. the Storm. Oh, well, this is an easy one, isn't it? The big outs for the Storm, though, are Jerome Hughes, Nelson Asafa-Solomona, and Nick Meaney. Tyron Wishart comes in to the 7 position, but I don't see anyone else. Bronson Garlett comes into 14. I think Tyron Wishart was 14. And then Kane Bradley, I don't see anyone else of notable instance. Fatana Mariner is actually in the reserves, which is quite interesting. David Clemmer has entered the side as well, which I can't see him right now. There he is. David Clemmer has joined the Dragons. Now, is this enough to beat Melbourne for the Dragons? Hell no. Hell no. This is going to be another Storm demolition. So I'm going to go Storm 13+. Definitely going to be a Storm 13+ game. Then we head back to sunny Queensland, and it's the Cowboys versus the Raiders. The Cowboys are slight favourites at the moment, but also the Raiders are also just out there. So this game could go either way. I don't think the Cowboys are welcoming anyone, but Morgan Smithies is out for the Canberra Raiders, but that's kind of good timing because Joseph Tarpanen comes in for the replace Morgan Smithies. I don't see anyone else that is notable. I do believe Corey Horsburgh is still playing, yes. So who am I going to tip in this one? Now, I think this is going to depend on if Raiders can bounce back, but I'm going to go with my heart here, and I'm going to go Cowboys 1-12. I'm definitely going to go 1-12. I actually put a note here, like decide on the spot, because I just couldn't decide between these two teams. I think this is going to be a really good game. I think whoever wins this game is going to be able to keep going with this. Now, if Raiders win, I think they keep their top 8. They're always going to keep their top 8 alive. They did come off a really bad loss against the Manly Ringer Sea Eagles, but I definitely think the Raiders definitely have it in it to win. And the Cowboys did show improvement last week against the Broncos as well. So that shows a bit of promise. Now, if the Cowboys win this, that just proves to the Broncos that, hey, things are just a one thing. It's just a one-time thing, you know. Then we head to Shark Stadium, and it is the Sharks against the Bulldogs. Now, this is going to be a pretty interesting game because the Bulldogs have no one notable in, but they're still without Matt Burton, and they're still without Villamau Kickout. And after Josh Curran decided to mimic a ref, well, that's not looking good for the Bulldogs right now. And quite honestly, I don't think there's... Oh, I think Tom Hazelton is actually in. Yes, he is. And Daniel Atkinson as well. Nope, that's just someone else. Toby Rudolph. I think Toby Rudolph as well is playing. Hold on. Oh, man. I'm just making sure for that. Toby Rudolph's in the reserves. Okay, so quite interestingly enough, the Sharks are definitely heavy favourites to win this game, and I'm definitely going to agree with this one. So I'm going to go Sharks 1-12. I definitely think the Bulldogs will give them a fight. Oh, Pancake. You're here? Why are you not showing up in chat, though? Why are you not showing up in chat? That's interesting. I don't know what's going on there. Unless someone's like, I don't know. That's quite weird. If I wait, is my chat broken? Hold on, let me refresh my chat. No? Okay. That's weird. That is very weird right now. I don't know what's going on. But it is all good. Raiders and Cowboys, 1-12, done that. Shark Bulldogs, 1-12. Then we come back. I believe this is a 4 Points Park game. Yes. It is the Sea Eagles versus the Eels. This is a really easy one. The Manly don't have Paseka, but they do welcome back Tom Trbojevic. Unfortunately, there's no easy way to put this. This is an easy one. It is definitely going to be a Sea Eagles 13+ game. I don't see Parramatta winning a game for a while, if I'm being completely honest. No, I think you deleted a comment. Okay. I don't see Parramatta winning a game in a while, honestly. And quite honestly, if Dylan Brown continues to perform the way he is, I definitely think it should be considered that he needs to be let go. I'm definitely starting to agree with what's going on. I'm definitely starting to agree with a lot of people. He definitely needs to be considered to be let go. He's doing more damage to the club than good, if I'm being completely honest with you right now. And it's just, yeah, not ideal for the club. And honestly, the club has had a lot going on as it is. And quite like, yeah, Manly 455 plus, I reckon. No, I think it'll be 13 plus, but I think Manly will just run away with it. And quite honestly, oh my God, I hope Cherry-Evans doesn't get a bad reception, if I'm being completely honest with you. And then finally, we get to what I think, honestly, is game of the round. The West Tigers versus the New Zealand Warriors. The biggest out for the New Zealand Warriors is Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. Now, question, is Dylan Walker still playing? I don't think he is. So I believe Miri Martin will come into the side. So they have lost that. So the Warriors are now going to have to adjust with not only without Tuivasa-Sheck, but they're going to also have to go without Zalesniak and also Dylan Walker as well. So that is quite honestly a shocker. But on the other side, on the West Tigers, they are almost unchanged. Now, I believe they don't have any notable ins, but I think honestly, it's so good, by the way, to see that. It's so good to see that Twiley's getting a starting position, and Walker, he's in the starting lineup. Okay, no, but he's still 14. I think he won't play. No, without Walker, yeah, he'll definitely be without. They'll definitely be without Dylan Walker. So that's quite. Yeah, you're definitely right there. So my tip for this one, I actually think this is going to be game of the round. My tip for this game, I think it's going to be a close one. I think it could go down to golden point, and I think Tigers get the dub here, and I think this is going to make Tigers a threat to the entire competition. It's going to put them on notice. It's going to put the whole competition on notice. Be like, hey, we're here now. We're back. Adam O'Brien needs to write a book called 101 Ways to Waste $14 million on you know who. Wow. That is absolutely insane. So those are my tips and predictions. Panthers 13+, Roosters 1-12, Dolphins 1-12, Sharks, I think I said 13+. Hold on. No. Oh, no. Storm 13+. Sorry. Storm 13+. Sharks 1-12. Sea Eagles 1-12. And West Tigers 1-12. So we're gonna have a few. We're gonna have a few close games this week. Dolphins, I'm tipping as the upset of the week. I'm just saying that. So guys, that's going to do it for the podcast tonight. Really appreciate you all coming out. Seriously, I do appreciate it. Apologies for the technical difficulties to start off with. Next week, we're going to have some more discussion points. Hopefully we can get a guest on. I haven't got a guaranteed guest for next week, but the week after we do have a guest. So I'm quite excited for that one. And yeah, have you been watching the Terrell May vlogs? I have not been watching the Terrell May vlogs. But I have been seeing them. I've been seeing them recommended on stream. So don't worry, I am aware of them. So quite honestly, yeah, I'm quite honestly aware of them. So yeah, so that's going to do it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate you all, as always. And I know it's a short podcast, but it's always a short podcast. So guys, you have a great night, and I'll see ya soon, I guess. Actually, no. Actually, one thing I forgot to mention. This week, by the way, for those who are on Spotify, if you go ahead and actually join the YouTube channel on Friday night, we will be live reacting to the Broncos and Dolphins game. So make sure you guys come and stick around for that. We're going to chill out. We're going to have a bit of fun. We're going to kind of live react as the other game is finishing. And yeah, we don't do raids on YouTube, though. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Appreciate you all, as always. Make sure you stick around on Spotify. It will come up on Spotify very soon. I'll get that out very shortly. And guys, I hope you have an amazing night. And enjoy your footy. Scrum done.